It's Monday, and you're probably engaged in all kinds of activities and have a whole list of things that you need to get accomplished for the day. And in this final week of Jesus' life, that kind of relates to what Jesus was about. Monday starts off as a busy day to what's going to be a very busy week. You see, Jesus has something to accomplish. He's got to save the world by the end of the week. We saw yesterday in the triumphant entry that Jesus enters Jerusalem as a triumphant king, although he doesn't do it at all like a king of this world would. And the reason for that is that he's not about conquering and tearing down. He's going to give his life for you and for me. And so nothing Jesus does in this week is going to look like someone who's trying to take a physical throne, or for that matter, even trying to protect his physical life. Monday's answer to how did Jesus go from a triumphant entry to the crucifixion is because he insisted on doing so. Monday starts with Jesus approaching Jerusalem, and he becomes hungry, and he sees a fig tree and he walks over to it, and there's no figs on it, and so he curses it dead. To the best of my knowledge, this is the only destructive miracle that Jesus performs in Scripture. But everything Jesus does in this week is meant to teach and to propel his disciples' minds for what was coming, and for that matter, your and I's minds for what everything meant. And so in cursing that fig tree, Jesus is setting the stage for what he's about to do in the temple. And he's telling the disciples, listen, you're going to have faith. And if you have faith, you're going to be able to accomplish things you never imagined. And truly, the disciples could not have imagined what was coming next. You see, Jesus entered Jerusalem triumphantly, but he didn't do so with an army. He didn't do so with a group of bodyguards. In fact, the most fierce men that he had with him were fishermen, they weren't soldiers. And so, if you'd caused all the upstir that Jesus did the day before, knowing that they already wanted to kill you, it would seem that if you wanted to preserve your life, that you would stay on the low down, if you will. But Jesus doesn't do that. He goes into the temple where the people have set up all this money exchange and selling of animals for sacrifices. Now, in God's law in the Old Testament, those animal sacrifices were necessary for the Passover. But it was meant to draw people to God. It was meant to be a symbolic message of what Jesus was going to do when he came. But what the people had done, probably many very unintentionally, and yet others for their own greed, had made it a place where they could create a profit. And so Jesus goes into the temple and he turns over the money changers, he chases all of the animals out, and he completely, we call it the cleansing of the temple. He chased all this out. He says, my Father's house was to be a house of prayer, and you've made it a den of thieves. Well, why did Jesus do that? I mentioned yesterday he was a rule breaker. Obviously, he is breaking all the rules here, much to the dismay of those who are making a lot of money off it. But why? And here's the precious story for you and I. What he does immediately after he cleanses the temple is he invites all the lame, all the blind, all of those who had issues that would have disqualified them from entering the temple. He draws them in and he heals them. That's what's so precious for you and I. Jesus in his final week is not only determined by making the leadership incredibly angry to go to the cross, he's giving us the message of why he's going to the cross. You see, the story of Jesus, and certainly this last week of his life, is not about you and I being good enough to be his. It's about what he does to heal us and to uplift us, to make us his. It's a beautiful thought. That's different than how the world does it. You know, the Pharisees and the scribes, all the leaders and the people who were making money off that arrangement that Jesus disrupted wanted to kill him. But it's interesting that the reason they couldn't is because the people were hanging on his own word. The question I have for